Bonjour, 8th graders. Welcome to week 3, lesson 3. We're on topic 7, lesson 1, and we're just doing page 345. We're going a little slow this week, but that's okay because our topics are challenging, so I'd rather go slow. As always, a mini micro quiz. The layer of the atmosphere closest to Earth is called A, the thermosphere, B, the mesosphere, C, the stratosphere, or D, the troposphere. 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause the video if you need more time. Maybe you could Google layers of the atmosphere. Okay, I'm going to knock out some answers that I know are wrong. I'm going to knock out the stratosphere and the mesosphere because those are the middle layers. Those would be like our peanut butter and jelly and our peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So I'm just concerned about the slice of bread that's closest to Earth. So the correct answer is the troposphere. That is the layer closest to Earth, and the thermosphere is the layer farthest from Earth. So what are we going to do today? Today we are going to learn about Earth's energy budget. Have you heard the word budget before? Budget means how much you can spend or use. Although today we're not talking about money. I kind of wish we were because I could really use a lesson in how to budget. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about the sun's energy and how much of that Earth is going to use. Little reminder that most of the energy in sunlight does not actually reach Earth's surface. Please remember that was a question that I asked you yesterday in your Schoology, for your Schoology homework, so make sure that's done. So what happens to the sun energy that actually does reach the surface? We know it's a lot less, but how does the Earth use it once it finally hits the surface? Well, ironically, only about 50% or half is used on Earth. So of all of the energy that actually can reach the surface, Earth is only using 50% of that. So what's happening? What happens to the other 50%? Because that's a lot. Like if I lost 50% of my savings or my check, I'd be pretty upset. So, like the sad sun. I would feel pretty sad too. Okay, so what about the rest? Well, 25% is reflected by clouds. We already knew that some visible light is actually shot back by clouds. 20% is absorbed by gases and particles in our atmosphere. And 5% is reflected by the surface. Okay. What will reflect sunlight? What surface will reflect sunlight? Think about that. Have you ever looked at something and your eyes hurt because it was a really sunny day and there was just too much sunlight going back in your eyes? Remember, sunlight can really damage our eyes. Well, we've got snow. If you ever tried to drive in the snow on a really sunny day, it's hard. You definitely need sunglasses. We've got ice, like glaciers. Please remember, glaciers are really, really, really big sheets of ice. And liquid water, like if you're at the beach. So these will all kind of act like a mirror and just really bounce back the sunlight. Okay, so something interesting. Let's talk about light and color. In general, lighter colors tend to reflect more light than darker colors. All right, so the lighter colors act more like a mirror and the darker colors act more like a sponge. So you will actually tend to feel hotter in a dark t-shirt than a light t-shirt, something to think about as the summer approaches. All right, so I want you to apply this to something that recently happened in early January, the really, really deadly Australian fires. So these fires created soot and ash that were carried away by winds all over the world. And what they actually ended up doing is they traveled so far that they landed on glaciers, remember those big, big sheets of ice, and made them darker. Okay, so now instead of having a light color, I have a dark color. So what do you think will happen to the glaciers that are darker? Are they going to reflect the sunlight? Well, probably not. We just learned that darker colors absorb sunlight. So what's probably going to happen? They're probably going to melt, and they're going to melt fast. And that's a big issue because they're already melting because of global warming. So now they got a 1-2 punch, melting because of global warming, and now probably melting faster because of all this ash that landed. So guys, we're all connected, okay? Just because it happened so far away on the other side of the world doesn't mean it doesn't affect us, which is kind of crazy. All right, let's get back to topic. Let's focus on the sun's energy that is used. So I got some of it transformed to chemical energy through photosynthesis in plants. And I say plants, but also there are other photosynthetic, that means things that go through photosynthesis besides plant. The most famous being algae, that kind of green slime that grows on top of ponds or lakes. All right, so we know that plants will take the sun's energy and make it into food. That's the chemical energy we're talking about. Okay, the other is going to be absorbed by Earth and then later released by the atmosphere. So have you ever gone to a beach at night and you can actually feel that the sand is still warm and the rocks are still warm? That's because they absorb the sun's energy and will release it back later in night. So someone who also utilizes this are snakes. So if you've ever been to the Southwest at night, snakes will often go into the street and they will absorb the sunlight being reflected back. Again, usually streets are usually darker, so they're absorbing the sunlight. And unfortunately, it's kind of a bad scenario because they get hit by cars a lot. But that's what they're doing. They're trying to soak up some of the absorbed sunlight. All right, so Earth's surface will absorb and readmit, that means release, equal amount of energy so that it remains balanced. So, there's never too much being absorbed or released at the same time, which is kind of cool because the Earth really takes care of itself and we're the ones that kind of come and muck it up a little bit. All right, let's do a little true false before I leave you. So most of the sun's energy that passes through the troposphere, that's the layer of the atmosphere that is closest to Earth, is used. True or false? And if you were paying attention, I'll give you 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause the video. I'd pause the video and I would go back to the slides if you don't understand that. Because if you're paying attention, you should know that it is false. Only 50% of it is used. All right, guys, that is it for me today. Have a good day. Stay safe, and I will see you soon.